some degrees of bloom. Some are in full bloom right now, so the fruit's going to start showing up as soon as that is over. So next will be peaches, and on and on and on. Our pomegranates are blooming with beautiful red flowers, and we've got our almonds are just, filled with... And, I was in the orchard yesterday walking around. I love to just feel the energy of being in that space. And I was noticing it's been pretty hot here. I don't know if it's hot up where you guys are right now, but it's in the 90s right now. It's been for the last few days. And I walk in the orchard, and it's like I can feel a marked difference in temperature. It's like if there's a cooling to it.
Sure.
And that's an interesting phenomenon. The trees feel as though they're holding on to the moisture, and the moisture has a cooling effect. I mean, that's all I can figure, but it was a very perceptible feeling I had walking through the orchard yesterday.
Wherever it's green, when you have a green zone, you drop the temperature about 5 to 10 degrees. Just by the grasses and the trees, the green zone reduces temperature.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Makes it more comfortable.
Yeah.
Make it more comfortable.
Yep. Makes sense.
So, no questions? Nobody's willing to step out there?
There are some questions in the queue now. Let's go with area code 714. Aaron from California. Good evening, Aaron, and welcome to the call.
Thank you so much for taking my question. So I just read a report today, Clayton, that in California our lead levels in our water is skyrocketed. It's worse than Flint, Minnesota, or Michigan. I just spaced which one it was. But I was wondering if the portable filter or any of the other filters neutralize lead.
All toxins. Lead is just another toxin.
Makes sense.
I mean, all toxins. It doesn't matter whether it's mercury, lead, arsenic. Virtually all toxins are not virtually. All toxins are neutralized. That's it. It's God's law. Flat. Easy. Simple. That's it. I don't know what I can say more.
Well, that's okay. I've been on the other calls, so I'm pretty familiar with the science, or at least as much of it as I've heard. Something that had come up for my mom and I when we read that report today is we were thinking about another call we were on where one of the docs had discussed that, you don't think about the fact that if you go to Starbucks or you go out to eat, none of that tea, like iced tea or coffees or whatever, are brewed with structured water, and most likely it's a filter that doesn't do a great job. And so I was wondering, on a different note, if it's possible to just add some structured water to the tea or coffee, like you suggested we spray over our food, to help neutralize the toxins if we are in that kind of situation.
Sure. Just take a spray bottle if you have one with you, and just spray your coffee. It does the same thing. It structures all the coffee or tea.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what it is, or tequila, or whiskey. Doesn't matter. Beer, wine. All those things do the same thing. Also, you could just blow air on you can blow air on the liquid itself, or you can blow air on the glass, and it will structure the ingredients in the glass. So I'm going to try to teach everybody out there in the world of what energy is about. Energy transcends all things. There's virtually no blockage to the type of energy that we're talking about here. So everything that this water comes in contact with, it will be changed. It does not matter what it is or what material it's made of. And the reason is the component that's changed in the structuring event is hydrogen. It changes the way hydrogen bonds to other elements. In other words, making hydrogen perfect. And everything that hydrogen comes in contact with has hydrogen in it. So guess what? It entrains its energy into everything it comes in contact with, bringing it to that same perfection. This can go on and on and on. And I'm going to say this. Everybody out there is kind of fearful of plastic bottles. I'm going to tell you this. Listen to me. If you put structured water in a plastic bottle, that plastic bottle is changed. It's structured. It can no longer be the harm that you perceive it to be. Everywhere that plastic bottle goes, it's going to change its environment. And eventually, we're going to change the world. So there you go. That's simple.
And my reality is we are already changing the world. There are a lot of these units all over the world now.
Right. So think about this. We talk about structuring air. In our kitchen we have a fan sitting there with a unit sitting on top of it, and when we're having dinner, if we have a glass of wine, we pour a glass of wine, and invariably we always taste the wine first. Then we take that wine glass and just tilt it over top of the structured air blowing through the unit. Just for a second. And then taste the wine. And it's totally different. Now, that is structure. That's structuring the wine. You can add more structuring to it by actually adding a drop of water or spraying the top of it. There are certain levels that occur, but you definitely will taste the difference between a sip of wine before structuring and after structuring. Another one that Tim come across was, if you want to change the food on your plate, if you have a structuring unit with air blowing through it, all you got to do is pass your plate over top of that air, and everything on the plate becomes healthy, or healthier, let's say. It energetically neutralizes all toxins, whether it be lead, arsenic, whether it be mercury, whether it be whatever it is, all the things that are detrimental to life. Just
GMO?
by passing. Yes. Well, not GMO. Well, it's a modified food. In other words, it's genetically modified.
Yeah.
It's genetically modified, and you can, and pretty much that genetically modified food, the food value of it is preset in the modification. So by adding structured water, it doesn't change much. So the answer to genetically modified food is get rid of it. We have done tests that show that we can reverse that seed in about 3 years. But it's just not, you know, I mean, it's not worth it unless we have to do that. There's enough non-modified seed out there in the world that we can take that back. And the beautiful thing about it is, had the industry really looked at this, the answer to all the things that the genetically modified seed or product was set to do, you can do that through nature. All you need to do is provide the plant, whether it be a tomato or whether it be a grape or whatever it is, with the proper nutrition, the proper nutrients, and proper water, and no predators will come to it. No predators can come. Again, it's against God's law. And when you have food like this, and Victoria's whole oasis down there in Arizona is a very clear picture of that. Healthy food value galore.
And there's a word of effortless comes to mind too, because when things are in balance, you don't have to work so hard to combat what's around you, because you're just being in that space of balance is going to naturally keep you strong, whether it's yourself or your plants. And a good way to look at this is, you know, we have a pretty challenging environment here in the desert between, you know, one of the functions of the desert is you can have very big temperature shifts between the day and the nighttime. And obviously people know Arizona gets quite hot in the summertime, but it can freeze in the wintertime. So when you have that big of a swing, it can be very stressful on the plants. And when you look at the plants and you see them producing, you know that they are not in stress. Plants that are going to be in stress are going to barely try to survive. They're not going to be setting a whole bunch of fruit on them. They'll drop the fruit. So, you know, I think that's one indication that you have a balanced system.
Perfect. So, you know, this is something that more and more people need to really engage in, is growing food, you know. I mean, it's the most magnificent thing you could do. You know, if you were, with structured water and quality nutrients, you can feed a family of 4 with a 4x4 square foot plot of ground for a year. Think about it. Doesn't take much. So, Victoria, she has an abundance.
Nutrient-dense produce. And, you know, I had some carrots that we harvested yesterday, and I was eating them, and I didn't quite wash them completely. There was a little bit of grit from the dirt, but it was all good. They tasted so amazing. And it's one of those things where you just savor the taste. It's like, how can a carrot taste like candy to you, to give you that kind of, you know, just enjoyment? But that's what happens when you're eating something fresh that's vibrant, that's alive. And, you know, that's the experience I have with drinking structured water. Drinking it in and just